You don't know what's out there.
That's why I would go.
Hi, and welcome back to Wild Dream, where we give you the freshest takes on the latest movies. My name is David.
And my name's Daniel.
Daniel, why are you crying?
If you know, you know. My name's Daniel. Wild Dream, Wild Dream, Wild Dream.
Wherever you wild dream.
Wild Dream, Wild Dream.
It's us in Wild
The dream.
Dream.
And you're gonna be the one.
Can they swing from by? No.
I'm
Wild Dream.
I'm Team Batman.
Okay, no, wrong. Objectively, factually.
Emotionally. Spider-Man. You know, this is a big deal across the whole world.
Yeah.
Truly. And
Wild Dream, you mean?
This is Wild Dream. And this is two massive blockbusters.
Huge.
Wait, Blockbuster. I thought they were out of business. I'm more of a Hollywood video guy myself, and
I own several blockbusters. They're thriving, actually.
they're thriving. Speaking of,
They only sell Home Alone 2.
Blockbuster was an Epo baby. He was the son of Dave and Buster. Of course. This is a summer full of massive films, and
It's a year full of massive films.
It is. You know what? Let's do a fun exercise. Are you ready for this shit?
Okay.
Off the dome. How many movies can we name right now that we're excited to see for the rest of the year?
I mean,
We can do it together.
okay, 3, 2, 1.
Tony.
3. Oh, I was just going to say the number. Yeah, Tony. That was going to be my first one. So Tony, Avengers Doomsday, Dune. So that's 3 easily.
Okay. Give me, it hasn't been announced a release date yet, but The History of Concrete, John Wilson's debut film.
If that comes out this year,
Hopefully.
excited for that.
I'm actually really excited for the debut, which is Jesse Eisenberg's newest movie with Paul Giamatti.
Oh, yes.
That looks good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the end. What's it called? The End of the Street?
I'm not as excited for that. The director is one that we are familiar with. Yeah, the movie itself, I don't have a ton of interest. I'm not a big dinosaur guy. I'm like, Jurassic Park was great, and then that was like it for me. But yeah, End of Oak Street. I will go see it. I'm not like uninterested in it entirely.
Sure.
You know, it's not like that movie with the moms going on the spa vacation that we keep seeing trailers for, or the Sex Purge movie. It's already out right now, right?
It is out. My favorite part of sex is the after.
Sure, buddy.
Sure, buddy.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you say, buddy?
When I have sex, I'll tell you what the actual best part is.
Yeah. How
It
about
won't be after. I can tell you that.
Yeah. There'll be physical evidence of my favorite part of sex.
My cousin's had sex. He told me it's actually way better.
He says the best part is coming.
Yeah. But yeah, there are, and it's like we've already had such
Fjord.
good movies.
I'm excited for.
I have a lot of movies I'm excited that I have pre-ordered, which, by the way, I got my copy of Obsession, my 4K copy of Obsession already. I also just want to say fuck Neon for having the most expensive physical media out there. Why are you guys twice the price of everyone else? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, don't make no sense.
The pre-order for Hokum is so expensive, but I really do want to own that movie, but it's just like, I'm not paying that much for it.
You might have to wait a little bit.
Not when I've gotten my pre-order for Obsession and my pre-order for Project Hail Mary were both the same price. So if this movie is not the same price as those movies, I'm like, well, I already have some, it's like I'm even less willing to pay it because it's more than what I've already paid for the same thing, which are other movies that are really good. So yeah, I'm really excited that this has been such a good year for movies. We're really excited for, even more movies coming out. We just saw a
Club
movie.
Kid, I just thought of. The point is they just keep, there's just so much to look forward to already. And it's over half of the year.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. Like this has been a great year for film.
Yeah, it is funny. I was telling Dan in the theater, and for those of you who can't read, or the real ones who just tap Wild Dream and just hit play and they just go as fast as they can. We just saw Spider-Man, brand new day. And we saw it along with everyone else in the world. Because I was telling Dan, it's funny that that Odyssey is obviously a huge deal. It's a really, really big movie. It's, first time we've seen Christopher Nolan since Oppenheimer, which was, I feel like a few years ago. That was our first anniversary episode. So for sure, a few years ago.
3.
And yeah, I mean, whenever he has a movie, it's the biggest thing in the world. Like, it's going to be very, very hard to get tickets to, and it's going to be something that people go and rewatch a couple of times, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, yeah, this movie got to be the biggest movie in the world for 2 weeks because Spider-Man just so happened to be coming out. And I'm like, and Spider-Man's done a third of the promotion as the Odyssey. And, with the Odyssey having 55 known, like, household name actors in it, they can all go do different interviews all over the place. And so I've seen all these different interviews with all these different actors, and they like pair them up with who was in the scenes together to go do, like Lupita and John Bernthal are doing press together.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man, I'm like, honestly, you could have released Spider-Man with no trailer. I really do believe that. As if they just said Spider-Man's coming out in July, everyone would have been there.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that, I love that though. Because I'm one of those people. I'm one of the people who would have showed up, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's interesting. You see some discourse about what they're calling Doomsday. And I'm just like, I'm sorry to break it to a lot of people, but there's no way Dune outperforms Doomsday. There's no way.
I know.
The fan base is just massive. It's immense.
Yeah, like let me give you guys an example. So Denis Villeneuve is my second favorite director of all time. I gave Dune Part 2 a 9 out of 10.
And I'm telling you, Dune 3 is going to be the best. I just know it's going to be the best of the 3.
And I really do believe that too, especially because I've heard a couple of things about like what, the storyline or whatever. Like, I don't want to spoil anything for you or anyone listening, but
yeah, you better not, buddy.
But
my cousin spoiled something for me recently.
That's the best part of such coming.
In case that makes the cut.
I thought it was the after.
Fuck, I thought it was the after recording the Sex Purge movie with
two people I've never heard of.
With, I'm pretty sure Shawn Mendes. I actually don't know.
I actually don't know who that is.
Isn't that's Dua Lipa's husband, isn't it?
Shawn Mendes?
No,
or that guy?
The guy in that movie.
I couldn't.
I don't know, man. I'm old.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm unk. Who's Dua Lipa? Who even is that?
Who even is that? But yeah, it's I'm super excited for Dune. Okay, and yes. I think it is going to be the best one. It is my second favorite director of all time, and I am not interested in Doomsday at all. I think they because they had to pivot so quickly, they kind of botched the whole transition into Doomsday, rushed everything, had to scrap all of the King Dynasty, everything because of the Jonathan Majors scandal. And so they just like had to pivot, and it just doesn't feel natural. Doesn't feel like there's any real build up to it. And then it feels like, oh, what if we bring Chris Evans back? Will you guys like it? Whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go see that in theaters. So so Dan's right. Yeah. Like the fan base is just too big to, whatever. And also, and now that they have like fired like every fucking CGI artist in Marvel Studios and they're just going to replace them all with AI, like this is the last year I'm going to be watching Marvel movies in theaters.
Fair enough, man. And that's it reminds me of like when I think about it, like your fandom, like you're talking about, like, hey, I don't really care for this. I'm not excited for this. I'll be there.
Yeah,
my ass will be in the seat. It's like I think about it in terms of me and you. We watched season 4 of Community.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there is an attachment to a
franchise,
a
property.
Yeah, like there you have an emotional investment, and yeah, and as far as today and getting into Spider-Man, brand new day, I want to start off with saying that I have been introduced to this era of Spider-Man within the past year.
Yeah, it's one of my greatest accomplishments of last year was getting Dan to finally watch all of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Now, I don't know if you've seen Infinity War or Endgame or Civil War, but all of those have Spider-Man in them as well. But at the very least, he has watched the solo Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
Yes, starting with Homecoming.
Homecoming, yes. And then Far From
Home, and then No Way Home.
And then No Way Home. and now Brand New Day. So yeah, when you like, because you think like, okay, now he has 4 solo movies. That's even more than Tobey Maguire got, and it's like, well, he was already in Infinity War and Endgame and Civil War. So by the time No Way Home came out, he had 6. We had 6 movies of Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, this is my favorite Spider-Man ever, and that's huge. I'm still Christian Bale is my Batman, even though I really, really love the Batman with Robert Pattinson. Didn't love Ben Affleck for lots of reasons. But I even with the amount of nostalgia that comes along with Tobey Maguire, I love what they have done with Tom Holland Spider-Man. And as someone who loves Spider-Man a lot, and it's his favorite superhero, and it's one of my favorite franchises and IPs ever.
You what? Whoa, awkward.
It's a big deal for the fact that because there's like Spider-Man has the most stuff. I feel like Spider-Man has the most merchandise that I see out and about. He has the most cartoon shows, and he has the most video games, and he has the most movies. Like it's just like Spider-Man, I feel like was our introduction to superhero movies, with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I mean, this predates, the Dark Knight series, and it predates Iron Man. So like for a lot of us, for our generation at least, like we didn't grow up with the, Tim Burton Batman movies. Like that wasn't something that was like part of our childhood.
Yeah. Christopher Reeve's Superman era. Wasn't there like a Lou Ferrigno Hulk movie, or
but even that's before our time too. It's like
it's just interesting, like the different eras of superhero films. And
like we've had 2 Hulk movies, and like those never really stuck. And there was a Hulk video game, and it just wasn't like nearly as good. So it's like there are certain heroes that are part of our childhood, and I think Spider-Man is clearly a huge fan favorite amongst like a whole generation.
Yes.
It's not just our generation. It's not just the kids these days. It's like everyone loves Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So it's a big deal that when they're still making Spider-Man movies, I'm still in love with them. I'm still engaged with them. I don't feel like they've done this character anything but justice, and that's a really good feeling.
But justice. Come on, man. I'm fucking batting 0 right now.
That's not for your joke. That's for the concept of butt justice. Just so you know. I'd rather get my spine shattered by Batman than get whatever butt justice is.
Keep playing around, you're gonna find out. That's me. That's my Punisher.
Let me tell you something.
I think it's important to say, like, I've just been introduced to this whole chapter of Spider-Man within the past year. And so I'm starting off with that. And then I'll say this as well. Tom Holland is also my favorite Spider-Man. And I've been around I'm Unc, man. I've been around for all of them.
Yeah.
And I think he's clear and away the best. Like, it's not even close to me. So I wanted to say that. And then I wanted to say we got to start with the fact that this is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who did your favorite movie of all time.
Yes. Yeah. So he's the director of Short Term 12, which is my favorite movie of all time, has been for a very long time. He did another movie that I haven't seen with Brie Larson again. That was an adaptation of a memoir. It's on my list. I'm eventually going to watch it. But
I remember it. It's something about a glass house.
Yeah, Looking Glass or something. Yeah. But anyways, I haven't seen that yet. But so it's very clear that, like, at least in my mind, it's like, well, then Brie Larson goes and does a Marvel movie, and then she's like, hey, there's this director I used to work with that was really incredible if you guys are looking for someone. And then they get him to go do Shang-Chi. And the thing about Shang-Chi, I can't remember how it's pronounced. A lot of people had a lot of issues with that movie in general. They had a lot of issues with different elements in terms of, like, incorporating story that didn't really exist in the MCU yet, and then like just force feeding things into there, and also the final fight not being dramatic enough and not being intense enough, and it just like the power levels changing. So a lot of people had a lot of issues with that, but I think that, you know, you also have to remember he didn't write the movie, and he didn't write the comics either. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like I have to take that into, you know, with everything with a grain of salt. And it's like, well, with what he was given, I think he directed the movie well. You know what I'm saying? I think that he made a movie that had very interesting camera work as compared to other Marvel movies and especially solo movies. He had really interesting shot compositions and really interesting lighting and settings, and you know, there's the style of a lot of things that were put into the movie that I think were very creative. So what I was expecting from this movie, that I think that he is very uniquely talented in, is taking whatever characters he has and whatever story he has and incorporating a lot of heart and emotion and, like, you know, real human aspects too, you know? Sure. And I think that that's something that, you know, he, like, because changing, you know, we're changing the director to go into this new Spider-Man movie. And that's a big deal, you know, because the consistency of the style and everything is going to change a little bit. And that was scary. But, you know, when I know that they want to tap into a very emotional stage in Spider-Man's life, I'm like, oh, and then they go get this guy who I know understands human emotion really well, can get really good performances out of actors and actresses to really portray like deeply felt things in a really unique and special way to elicit emotional responses from people. And like, then that's who they're getting to do this movie. So I wasn't even thinking about the action sequences or the, you know, how that's going to affect based on what he did in Shang-Chi. I was focusing on, okay, I wonder how these actors are going to perform differently and how they're going to incorporate, you know, all these different elements into the story that I know he's capable of from Short Term 12.
Yeah, that's why I was so fascinated by this movie, because I'm like already pro director, and I understand, dude. It's like I don't even know what to compare it to. I really don't. Like in my head, I'm trying to compare it to like having one of your favorite singers join a already existing band to like cover their songs with them.
Yeah,
and it's like, yes, that like in terms of, yes, he's a great director, but it's Marvel, man. They're gonna have all the say for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't know if that's what led to Edgar Wright dropping out of Ant-Man because of creative differences, and they just wouldn't let him do what he wants to do. But that's a major fumble on their part.
Huge fumble. Yeah.
Can you imagine Paul Rudd and Edgar Wright together?
Yeah.
God, that would, like, they fumbled that just awfully. But
and then that you know, that hero fell off a fucking cliff.
Dude, it makes me so upset to think that we could have had that for sure. Yeah. But at the same time, what you're saying is like kind of what I was expecting of like, okay, I'm going into this going, I know Destin Daniel Cretton. I would assume there's going to be something to connect to emotionally in this. And that's why I was so floored by what flourished the most to me from his directing style, which was, in my opinion, again, I've watched these over the past year, I think this is the best looking Spider-Man film that I've seen. I loved I think it's the most cinematic looking one. Yeah. Like color grading, shot composition, some of the lighting, it was so like there was moments of actual like brooding kind of vibes. And so, I was just so impressed at how actually, and that sounds condescending, but just you have this typical Marvel movie expectation. Like this looked like an actual movie. Like it wasn't just over the shoulder shots and green screens the whole film. Like it wasn't. I also think too, I was so impressed by, this is the most New York any of his movies any of the Spider-Man movies have felt to me. I didn't get that like green screen soundstage vibe. I was like, God, I really feel the vast sprawl of the city. It feels like we're actually in New York in this film. Yeah. I was just so impressed by like the act, like you just said, like, oh, I forget about the fighting and this, like the amount of filmmaking that you can have an impact on. I was really impressed with it in this. Yeah. Like this was surprising in that way.
Yeah. I think that, you know, there's a lot of positive vibes going into this movie, you know, with that director, and also just understanding like the context of where we're at with Spider-Man. You know, for those of you who may not know, you know, Spider-Man is still owned. The you know, Spider-Man the character is owned by Sony, the company Sony. Sony has their own film studio, and so Marvel has to rent Spider-Man from Sony. So getting to continue to do Spider-Man movies out of Marvel Studios is like a really big deal. It's a whole, you know, thing that goes into negotiations and it goes into contracts and everything. And then on top of that, when Marvel actors sign up to be in Marvel, they usually sign these lengthy contracts that say you're going to do X number of movies. Well, like I said, because Tom Holland was in these 3 other movies that weren't Spider-Man movies, he fulfilled his contractual obligation at the end of No Way Home. So he is under no contract. So like not only is he under no contract to continue doing movies as Spider-Man for Marvel, now the character Spider-Man is also part of that contract for Marvel Studios from Sony. So the thing that was coming out a lot that they were talking about a lot when they were, you know, talking about doing this movie again was Tom Holland himself saying that he loves playing Spider-Man. He loves the character a lot. He loves being Spider-Man. It is like, you know, a real passion of his. Like, it's not just a role for him. It is like he really loves this character. And he was saying that he would only come back and do another Spider-Man movie and, you know, continue to play Spider-Man if there was a reason for it and if there was intention behind it. He's like, I'm not going to come back just because. He's like, there has to be a story that we want to tell. There has to be, you know, some kind of cinematic element that we want to explore that we haven't explored yet. Some type of, you know, whatever. So I love that coming from him and knowing that he has, like, he's always had creative say in these movies, you know, like ever since Homecoming, you know, he's always had a really vocal part of what he wants to do and how he wants Peter Parker to interact with his friends, how he wants him to feel more like a student, how he wants him to, you know, interact as Spider-Man with, you know, the world and with the story. So to see him take even more of, you know, creative control with this character, I think is a huge positive, you know, because he is someone who cares about this character really deeply. And he is going to be the one who everyone is calling Spider-Man, you know, for the next however many years. So he has to live with this character and be this character all the time to a certain degree, you know? And so I was so excited for this movie for all of those reasons, for this director, for, you know, Tom Holland's, you know, notes on everything, and for them to, you know, renew these contracts and to see that, oh, this is not going to be just one more Spider-Man movie. He's going to be in more Marvel movies moving forward based on the contracts that were released. So, I think that all of those things are all positive elements going into this movie, you know? I agree that this is one of the more cinematic movies that we've seen from Spider-Man so far, and from honestly Marvel in general. I think we really love Thunderbolts had some really good cinematography and color grading as well.
Definitely.
So they are kind of moving into more of a distinctive creative visions for each individual movie, which I think is a positive. And I think that, you know, with this movie, two of the things that I noticed like pretty early on in the movie were one, I felt like this era of Spider-Man, this version of Spider-Man, and there's not like a direct one-to-one comic adaptation that this is, right? This is not a one-to-one adaptation. There are several different comics that are being utilized for different inspirations for this era of Spider-Man, right? And because of that, you can see where the creative vision for this is more aligned with some of the comics that have been made for Spider-Man when he's in this era, this like 23, 24 out of college era Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And I think that adds a lot to the emotional depth of the movie, you know, that the cinematography, the color grading, the, you know, shot compositions, they do make you feel like Spider-Man is very lonely. You know, and I think that was so intentional.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing this portrayal of Spider-Man, because it reminded me of the Batman going, hey, what if he was kind of emo? And like you get a little bit of that in this. Like he doesn't lose his personality. He's still bubbly and witty and wisecracking. But you do finally see a little bit of a darker side of him, which I'm not familiar with any of this stuff, you know? Yeah. So I'm just going from, like we said, Homecoming to Far From Home to No Way Home. Like, I'm like, I've never seen him like this. So it was kind of fascinating to see this emo Peter Parker. And I just love that the style of the film, especially the color grading, reflected that. Yeah. It's an actual cohesive, intentional decision. It's not just, let's just make this look cool. And, it's not like they went and added grain. You know what I mean? Like, it could have, if they wanted to go that far and, but no, it's like, this is intentional. This is an actually cohesive decision. So I really liked it. And I thought it just looked great, especially when you consider the fact that the Punisher is in this too. So you're going for the same theme visually of having it be dark and dingy and worn.
Yeah, which those, Netflix Marvel TV shows were very, very, very real. A lot of practical effects being used in those movies or those TV shows. They're very dark. They're very gritty. And of course, having it be starting out with Daredevil, it means that those movies take place at nighttime, right? Because Daredevil's like a Batman type character where he does everything at nighttime. I loved seeing Spider-Man in all kinds of different settings when it comes to New York. He's in New York during the day. He's also in New York during sunset. He's in New York while it's raining. He's in New York while it's dark out. And it's just like when you think of, these other movies, it's like, okay, 95% of the movie during the day and then 5% movie during the night, whereas this movie kind of goes throughout different phases of New York and you get to see more of the city and how it changes throughout the day. Yeah. Which was really cool.
There was even a snow sequence that was really cool too. It was short, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
I think too, to be fair to the other movies as well, is just there's a lot of travel in the other movies.
Yeah.
So
they're kind of based around not being
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is like, well, he's here.
Around here. Yeah.
I was just very surprised by that, like very pleasantly surprised that which I did get the emotion. I did get what I expected, but like it really flourished the most in some aspects I wasn't expecting from having this talented of a director do it. So
the second thing that I noticed really early on was that I'm happy to correct myself if this is wrong. And I'm interested to go through some of the credits for this movie to see this. But I felt like there was a lot more connection between this Spider-Man and the video game Spider-Man. Which, by the way, Yuri, the voice actor for video game Spider-Man, that's my second favorite Spider-Man. Just throwing that out there for anyone who's curious. Like that, those video games, when you spend that much time with a character and a voice actor and their portrayal of Peter Parker and Spider-Man is like a big deal. He has several, I have hundreds of hours of time spent with, Yuri as Spider-Man. So, I felt like there were a lot of elements that reminded me of the game. And I loved that because the game is one of the most like true to Spider-Man versions of Spider-Man ever in terms of like how he fights and how he moves and how he quips and the different, Spidey suits that he wears and, the different types of crime that he fights and things like that. So, to see in this movie that some of the movements of Spider-Man, resembled what we see in the game and some of the, villains that we see are ones that we haven't seen before. And some of the settings that he's in reminded me of the video game to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And of course, Sony obviously is still very involved in this, making of these movies. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people who worked on, the CGI or graphics or whatever else did work on the game as well.
It's funny you're talking about the Spider-Man games, but it's funny you mentioned games at all just because when we were leaving the theater, one of my first thoughts immediately was, God, I wish Marvel Rivals wasn't fucking dog shit. Because I just want to play as the characters in this film.
Yeah,
and I just really want a co-op PvE Marvel game so bad. I want
they botched like every.
I want it to be like
done with that.
Very level based, where every level is a different part of the world, and then there's a boss fight in each one that is like a major character in some way.
Yeah,
and like that would just be so cool,
like Elden Ring but Marvel.
Yeah, man, like that would.
And they used to have like Marvel.
I don't even need it to
Alliance.
Be open world or like. I just want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost like the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, man.
Yeah.
Where those were just so fun. And
or like Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks.
Yeah,
that was
Shaolin Monks would be
there were a lot of games back then that were like that. You know, in Marvel Ultimate Alliance on PlayStation 2, you know, it kind of tried to do that. It was a little too arcadey, you know, so it wasn't like really fleshed out. But yeah, if you had like an Elden Scrolls, or you know, is that what that's called? Elden Scrolls? That sounds right. Elder Scrolls. You know, that style of game, co-op, but with, you know, Marvel characters, that would be really awesome. And yeah, they've just botched every version of a game that they've tried to release, especially for PvE. At one point in time, there were rumors that they were making a Spider-Verse video game, that Insomniac was working on a Spider-Verse video game as a follow-up to the Spider-Man game, in which you were going to be able to make your own Spider-Man and play like GTA Online, but for Spider-Man. And you could like play with your friends and be different types of Spider-Man.
Oh, that would be cool.
I know, right? I was like, yeah. Cause
honestly, just swinging around the city with the homies would be dope.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then, like, just fighting crime, just beating the shit out of just random dudes and shit. Like, it'd be crazy. And then, like,
that would be fun.
You get, like, a couple of missions where you actually have to, like, you know, take down some big villains. And they did the Sinister Six in, you know, the first Spider-Man game. And they haven't really done that in Tom Holland Spider-Man yet. So I would be really interested to see something like that. They also... They teased the Sinister Six at the very end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So the end of Andrew Garfield's, they teased a third movie with the Sinister Six. And I'm just like, eventually we're going to get there, you know. But anyways, we do need to get into some negatives for this movie. Okay, so first thing I want to mention, this is not a huge deal, but again, something that I noticed. There are a lot of continuity errors in this movie, just in terms of like, we'll cut to a character and they'll be looking to the left, and then we cut back into their OTS and they're looking to the right. You know, so like that happens like a couple of times in the movie. It's really jarring for me. I don't know how much it bothers anyone else, but I know some of our listeners it would bother. So throwing that out there, the editing is not perfect. The continuity errors are a little bit distracting.
There's a clip on Twitter going pretty viral from one of these past movies of him talking to Iron Man. And then it comes back, and he just looks his hairstyle is completely different and everything.
Yeah. And action movies usually do have more of these. I will like Peanut Butter Falcon is a movie that comes to mind that has like some of the most egregious continuity.
Peanut Butter Falcon?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what that movie's called. Peanut Butter Falcon?
You said superhero movies.
No, I know. Oh. I'm saying that movie has, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, like in terms of these types of continuity errors, the movie Peanut Butter Falcon has like a good chunk of the movie where it feels like every fucking cut is wrong. Like in terms of like head turned the wrong way, legs are not positioned the same way. It's really bad.
Yeah.
And then like even there's a sequence in Project Hail Mary too, where every single time they cut back to Ryan Gosling, he is like not doing the same. He like every single time they cut back to him, he's like not holding his cup anymore. His glasses are off now. It's like, so we're just having to assume he moved in between the cuts, but anyways, that's the first negative that I have. Not that big of a deal, but it is a negative.
Continuity errors.
I personally like most of the needle drops in this movie, but if someone didn't like them, I would understand. Sure. Like, only because, like, you know, they're trying to portray this, like, sad, lonely version of Spider-Man early on in the movie, and the needle drop is, like, kind of upbeat and, you know, happy.
Yeah, the needle drops that I remember, having just seen it, were all upbeat. So
yeah,
that's fair.
And I also, as far as there are some negatives that I can't talk about until we get into spoiler talk, but I will say that this movie is a bit derivative, and it is derivative of specifically other Marvel movies. So it's hard to be like, these movies like Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? But
dude, guys, y'all gotta go watch Spider-Man Far From Home. This is really similar.
If you guys go watch Avengers and you like, I'm talking heroes, costumes, bad guys fighting. It's so derivative.
This is reminding me of one of the hardest we've ever laughed in our life, which was when we were recording the pod back in the old early days, and us doing a whole bit going about a guy who doesn't understand sequels and the concept of sequels, and him having just seen Saw 2 and going, dude, this is reminding me a lot of Saw.
Yeah. So derivative. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I one of my negatives is that I can do for spoiler-free talk is it's too long. This movie, I really felt the length. I was like, oh my God.
And when I walked out of the theater, I saw this movie twice today, by the way, longer than a fucking full-time shift I spent in the theater today. When I walked out of the theater both times, I was like, what fucking time is it? My God.
It was long.
It's a long movie. And I understand it's like 2 hours and 30 plus minutes. And I know most superhero movies are
I
that
felt
way.
it. Sometimes you don't, we've talked all the time. It's a innuendo at this point. We go, I didn't feel the length. You could take that however you want. I did feel the length. That's a classic wild dreamism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we talk about this all the time. I absolutely felt the length of this movie. It was kind of brutal at points.
Yeah, I did too. But my biased opinion is it could have been 5 hours because I love Spider-Man. The other and this is a con of every Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. The actor who plays Ned is not good. And this is his best performance. Like this character that he plays, when he plays Ned, is the best acting I've seen him do. And I still think even though this is the best he has done, he just gets mogged by being in every scene he's in. He's in with Tom Holland or Zendaya, who are both significantly better actors. Yeah,
it's got to be tough to share scenes with people who are leagues above. And why do the goofy wig, man? It's just
he's an adult in the movie now. He can just be bald.
He's the CEO of sex, man. You're right in this. You are right that this is one of his better performances, not only in the Spider-Man movies, but he was in Tarot, and he was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
God awful. Which is saying something for that movie.
Which we overdid that pun in that episode, but to comedic effect. But he was terrible in that movie. And so I've seen him be so bad before, but he was fine in this. But the wig, dude, it's just they don't set him up for success.
But yeah, some more pluses for me. I thought the movie had some really good comedic moments, some good moments where it was actually funny, like laugh out loud funny. I really loved the way that they used Punisher in this movie. They did a really good job with that. Some of my other cons are all based around spoiler stuff, so I'll talk about those later. But at the end of the day, this is a Spider-Man movie. We don't have to tell anybody to go see this movie. They were going to go see it. Everyone loves Spider-Man. I can't imagine someone hating Spider-Man. And, I could see someone having no interest in Spider-Man, but I can't imagine someone likes superhero movies or enjoys action movies and just hates Spider-Man, won't watch any of them. So if Daniel watched all of them and could enjoy them, so can everyone else.
So true.
Yeah. It's a go and see it from us. It was great. I loved it.
It was a fun time. Yeah. And it's worth seeing, like you said.
But we can also go ahead and get into spoiler talk. I knew I should have stayed home today.
This fucking weirdo and his goddamn tights again. Get me out of this web.
Actually, they're not even tights.
Wait, what?
It's the skin of my other villains.
Jesus fucking Christ. Spider-Man is metal as hell.
They're all dead. And I'm adding you to the suit.
Hey, please don't do that. Actually, please don't do that. Spoiler alert.
All right, so let's get into the rundown.
It's time for the rundown, folks. My voice hurts. I can't do it today.
So going into this movie, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, the good thing is that they will show you clips of that movie, but they will not tell you their significance in the movie, which was very annoying. It means that they are showing clips from that movie, but not explaining that in that movie they erased every single person in the world's memory of Spider-Man or memory of Peter Parker. So that is what happens at the end of No Way Home. Doctor Strange does a spell to erase any memory of Peter Parker from anybody's mind. So his friends don't know him, don't know he exists, and no one remembers him. There's no record of him anywhere on any universe, by the way, is the concept of that, but whatever. So that's how we're coming into this movie. We are getting Spider-Man in his lonely sad boy era. And there is, usually a version of Spider-Man that goes through this phase, whether it's he breaks up with MJ and he's all alone, or he, whatever. Most masked superheroes, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman, you name it, at some point in their, lore, they will go through a phase in which they abandon their alter ego like altogether. They are like, I am not Matthew Murdock, I'm not Bruce Wayne, I'm not Peter Parker, I'm just Spider-Man all the time now. And they just do too much superheroing, and they spend all of their time being the superhero. And that is where we find Peter Parker / Spider-Man at the beginning of this movie. So they explain that he has been just working solo as Spider-Man in New York, and he's been working with the police and other government agencies in order to take down organized crime. So they show, a clip of him taking down Scorpion, who is, usually a leader of an organized crime unit. He takes down Tombstone, who is also the leader of an organized crime unit. And so, yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell. And he also, they show that he helps take down the Hand, which that's a whole thing with like the Netflix stuff too. I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, so he's been not just getting better as Spider-Man, getting stronger. He, Tom Holland bulks up for the role, and you can tell he's like a lot bigger. He looks more like an adult version of Spider-Man. But also that he's upped his technology for him to be able to do detective work. So that is another thing that Spider-Man eventually does do when he becomes an adult and he starts working more. He usually gets better and better at investigating crimes just as much as he is good at taking down bad guys. So very similar to like a Batman or Daredevil type character. He's doing this for 4 years. We know this because he keeps checking in on the fact that his friends that don't know he exists anymore are going through the years of MIT and graduating. So that's how we open the movie. Then we get a scene where Spider-Man and the Punisher actually are following a tank that is moving through the city. The tank is not able to be stopped and eventually runs into a building that is controlled by Damage Control. Damage Control is a government agency that deals with superhero stuff. That's their whole thing. So this tank crashes into it, and when it's open, it's revealed that there's like this old woman, and then the old woman transfers her consciousness into somebody else and then to somebody else, and then it's kind of revealed that that person was being mind controlled the whole time. So as Spider-Man, starts to investigate this crime, he realizes that there is some kind of entity or being out there that can transfer their consciousness into other people and take over their bodies. That makes them very difficult to track down. He can do it because, they are his spidey senses. He can tell from his spidey senses and his investigations. Mm-hmm. So as he is going through investigating, trying to find this person who is doing this and why they're doing this and everything like that, he's also trying to work with the Damage Control, organization, which he has been for a long time now. While all of this is going on, he does try to kind of reintroduce himself to his friends in a certain way. You can tell that that's like a big part of his life that he wants back. And he goes to a house party of theirs, and he meets Ned as like he makes up a name and all this stuff, and then he sees that MJ has a boyfriend now. So that traumatic experience of watching the love of his life be with somebody else causes him to go through this like new change in his body, where his arachnid DNA is increasing. The hormones from that DNA are increasing, and they're causing a lot of changes in his body. They're causing his senses to be even more hyper aware than they normally are. They're causing him to be able to shoot webs out of his wrist like Tobey Maguire does, like a natural version of web shooters, and that actually prevents him from being able to use his mechanical ones. And so he ends up going to a fight with Scorpion, or at least who he thought was Scorpion, but it's actually Scorpion being controlled by this entity. And his hormones from the arachnid side get so high that they take over his brain and also increase his level of aggression. So now he's dealing with, he doesn't want to be the guy who goes and just beats the people to a fucking pulp. But when he goes into this mode where his eyes turn black and his arachnid DNA is increasing, those hormones are increasing.
He turns into Tyler, the creator from the Yonkers video.
Tyler, the creator from the Yonkers video.
Cultural impact, man, that video, I swear.
Yeah, we've seen this a million times. Now, he does not want to be like this. He does not want to be this aggressive. He wants to have control over his emotions and his body. So he goes to Bruce Banner, who has been teaching at universities for all this time, and he's like, "Hey, Bruce, so what do you do to not be the Hulk all the time?" And so he tells him about this technology.
I smoke weed, man. It chills me out, bro.
I've been microdosing shrooms,
dude. I've been trying to microdose a dude. Dude, have you ever heard of Grateful Dead, bro?
Bro, you should listen, dude.
Dude, it's a fish, dude.
Have you listened to My Morning Jacket, bro?
Dude, My Morning Jacket, dude, they'll chill you out.
That major freaking chill vibes.
Very good vibes,
good
dude.
Chill vibes, dude.
Dude, take a little bit of this,
Take a little bit, bro.
Dude, you look like...
I like to be greed, but not greed. You
look like Spider-Man, dude. Like a lot like him, dude.
Do you look like Spider-Man? Anyway, so he says, hey, build this thing.
The idea of Mark Ruffalo doing that is so funny.
And you know what? He would nail that. He's such a good actor.
He is a good actor. True.
Yeah, so he's like, cool, I'm gonna go make this thing. Which, by the way, his whole conversation with Bruce Banner's like, yeah, I do this. Basically, Peter Parker is like, are you doing this? And Bruce Banner's like, yes. And he's like, I should do that. I'm like, you could have just tried it.
You already knew.
It feels like he already knew Anyway, he like doesn't get any new information from Bruce Banner to be able to go and make this thing. But anyways, it's a regulator that actually it decides which part of his DNA to allow to make it through his hormones and his DNA and whatever. So that is a big part of this story is him trying to suppress this part of his body, this part of his being, this part of his life is suppressing this, and it's getting worse because he's alone and because he misses his friends and because he just cannot control his emotions and he can't control his body. And it's very difficult for him. So he gets this regulator and his plan is like, okay, well, I'm going to find the person who's doing this and then I'm going to regulate them and they won't be able to use their powers anymore. So after creating this, the person who is doing all this shows up in the form of another person's body, and he goes on this big chase. And eventually, what he realizes that person knows that he is Peter Parker, finds the note that he wrote to MJ, and is threatening to go kill MJ. So then he has to rush over and try to save MJ, but MJ's already been taken over by this person, and she tries to kill MJ by walking off of a building. And then Spider-Man's like, okay, you know what? Fine, you win. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Just don't hurt MJ. Don't hurt my friends. Whatever. And then he finally gets to see this person. This is Sadie Sink, and Sadie Sink's character is Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
Big reveal.
Whoa.
It's Jean Grey. It's the first rumor that came out about what character she was playing was true the whole time.
Whoa.
The very famously redheaded actress plays one of the most famously redheaded characters in all of Marvel. In fact, the last person to play this character was Sophie Turner, another famously redheaded actress who was known for that look. I was not surprised at all. In fact, when I saw the movie twice today, just so you guys know, I saw it once in the morning in the Dolby because I really wanted that experience. And the only way that me and Daniel could see the movie together was to watch it in regular format. So I saw it in Dolby, and then I went to go see it in regular format with Dan. And when they revealed Jean Grey during my Dolby showing, dude to the right of me was like the dad of like this whole family there. And he was like, yeah, duh. Yeah, we all knew that's who it was going to be. And I was like, yeah, I know we all know, but shut the fuck up.
Yeah, stop having an entire conversation with the screen, buddy.
Yeah, I'm like, your family's not here alone. In fact, very far from it. Every fucking seat in this entire theater at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday is filled. Anyways, I was not surprised at all. Duh, we all knew it was going to be Jean Grey. Also, if you know anything about Jean Grey, you know that she is, a telepath and she can take over people's minds and take over their bodies. So
telepath, that's like when you like put yourself in their shoes kind of situation.
No. Well, yes. No. I appreciate the setup.
I guess that's right.
I guess you are. Yeah, when you think about how other people feel, that is telepath too. So yes, Jean Grey. We just based on the abilities of this entity, this creature, whatever it was going to be. Most of us knew it was going to be Jean Grey, and so now he's like, I got to go find Jean Grey. I got to go and take her down. And then he finds she attacks one of these buildings, one of these
damage control
buildings. So Spider-Man shows up, the Punisher, soon follows, and what he finds when he gets there is not only is Jean Grey there, but Jean Grey has now mind controlled the Hulk and is using him to try to break into a vault in order to get these bad guys for this thing that she's looking for. She keeps calling it VMAX. What is VMAX?
That was really unfortunate time for that to be the name of something. I just got to say, like in this like aura maxing era.
Yeah.
I'm like VMAX. Yeah, I'm VMAXing, brother.
VMAX. Yeah, it's also the half of that phrase is the name of the character she probably doesn't want people thinking about while she's playing new characters because her name was Max on Stranger Things. Anyways, she's like, I'm looking for VMAX. And like, aren't you Max? You're Max. You're Max from Stranger Things. You're the kid from Stranger Things.
You're looking for V? And why are you calling me your name, by the way?
Right. And like when Spider-Man shows up to the building and he sees Jean Grey, he's like, you're the kid from Stranger Things.
That's what's funny too is now I'm remembering that a show that fell off of a fucking cliff. The Boys, they call it V. The compound V.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing.
Is that a negative then for the movie? They should have called it something else.
I will tell you my thoughts on that in general. I got to get through the rundown. This is a long movie, so I got to get through the rundown. Okay. So the Hulk and Spider-Man fight.
They're in the Upside Down.
Okay. So they're in the Upside Down. So we're here, and if we just build something on top of then what we can do is
this car is the Upside Down.
So pretend that this podcast is the Upside Down.
I don't got to pretend, buddy.
So Spider-Man fights the Hulk. This is a con for me. It's very silly. The Hulk would just absolutely kill Spider-Man if he had his hands on him. And I do agree with the fact that like in a building setting or in a city setting, you could argue that Spider-Man could outrun the Hulk for a very long time. Just because the Hulk is big, giant movements in one direction with a lot of momentum, and Spider-Man's very agile and quick, and can use his environment to his advantage. So there were moments where I was like, oh yeah, I'm glad that he's just like running away. And then like later in the fight sequence, he like punches, like the Hulk goes to punch Spider-Man and he dodges the punches. I'm like, that I do prefer, because if you showed the Hulk punching him in the face and he was alive, I would be like, turn the shit off. It's actually so bad. But it was bad enough for me to be like, this is silly. I love Spider-Man to death. I love Marvel. The Hulk would just pick Spider-Man up and rip him in half. Like, come on. Anyways, so he fights the Hulk. And then when the Hulk is gone, he realizes that Jean Grey is now taken over the Punisher's mind. He ends up incapacitating Jean Grey. And the last thing she says before she passes out is Sarah. So now he's like, who is Sarah? So, then this whole time that this is happening, Spider-Man has kept MJ. Her name is not Mary Jane in this. Spider-Man has kept...
No, Dr. Bruce Banner's like, did you say Mary Jane?
You heard about my greed, dude. Because I get greed and I get greed.
Yeah, there's a reason to turn to the Hulk of greed, buddy.
Greed.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
I just love this bit.
It is a good bit. So this whole time that Spider-Man has been fighting Jean Grey and the Hulk and whatever, MJ has been being kept safe at the Punisher's abode, his place of residence.
His makeshift home.
His makeshift home. And so when Spider-Man gets back to her, she has found the letter that he wrote for her at the end of No Way Home, which explains that he made her mind get erased and that, he's in love with her and blah, blah, blah. And there's a very, very good emotional scene there. But eventually MJ's like, I got to go and I need you to take me home. So he takes her home and she's like, hey, do you want to come and say hi to Ned? So then Spider-Man hangs out with Ned as like friends, but, they still don't know that.
Anonymously.
Anonymously. Still just as Spider-Man. And then they get an alert that Spider-Man realizes that something that the damage control team said to him was a lie. So now he's like really concerned about this. He talks to the new Black Widow, the Florence Pugh Black Widow, who is sporadically in the movie and kind of helps Peter Parker out throughout the movie to investigate these crimes. He gets information from her that Jean Grey had a sister named Sarah Grey, and that she was kidnapped and experimented on and, you know, is possibly dead. So he's like, okay, they lied to us. We need to go get this girl because they just kidnapped, you know, Jean Grey now, and they're going to do the same thing to her. We do get a backstory scene of Jean Grey and Sarah Grey talking to each other on a bench, and they're talking about using their kinetic powers, and she's like showing her how the older sister Sarah's trying to show Jean how to like go into people's minds and all the stuff she's been doing throughout the movie. I think the silliest part about this scene is that they're both talking out loud despite both being telepaths. And if you watch any X-Men movie...
That's such a good... I didn't even think about that shit. I didn't think about that. That's funny.
If you watch any X-Men movie, you will find Professor X constantly talking to people in their head and never saying anything out loud. Because he's telepathic and he can just do that.
And you're also...
And not with other telepaths either. He'll just talk to you within your head because he can.
And in their case, in this specific case in this movie, like this is a lot of information you would want to keep between yourselves.
Yeah, you don't want to
take over that person's.
Yeah,
she's like 2 feet
she's
from her.
Like openly talking about taking over people's minds.
Can we do a parody scene where we'll do a parody of this scene because they're sitting on a park bench and then they're kind of people watching and then practicing by, oh yeah, take over that woman in the pink. But they're not that far away from these people.
Right.
I want to do a parody where like, yeah, take over the ugly fat guy. And he's like, are you talking about me?
What the fuck?
Wait, what the fuck?
Take over me? What do you mean by that?
That was mean.
But anyways, they speak out loud for a while. And then
so
Sarah gets kidnapped. And yeah, this scene was like not great because it was just like lore dump, you know, exposition.
It felt
dump.
like it belonged in a totally different project.
Yeah. And I also didn't really care. I'm not going to lie.
I was about to say it leads to the same thing. Like you're going to get the same result no matter what. Like the end of Sarah's story is the same without this.
Like I would rather have a sequence showing me what that organization did to Sarah than showing her getting kidnapped. Like they do that because they're doing everything through Jean Grey's eyes, you know, and the trauma that she experienced. But if you were to show like how badly they tortured her and to her eventual death, you know, I might be a little bit more afraid for Jean, and I might feel a lot more sympathy for, you know, what she's imagining is, you know, has happened to her sister, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they start to torture Jean the same way, and it doesn't work on her because she's way too powerful. And if you know anything about Jean Grey, you knew this shit was never going to fucking work, and that they were fucked the second they got in the same building as her. This chick is a nuclear bomb in every other version of her. Okay, so... in this one, what she does is she ends up in like a 10-mile radius of this facility, shooting out like a barrier, and they have like this physical. I really like the visuals and the way that they show it.
And the choreography. The choreography in this film is fantastic, and sometimes it's the jumping and it from consciousness to consciousness.
Yeah,
and then this
very
one,
consistent too in the way they do that.
It is, and then this was a real like the kind of magnum opus of the choreography was showing this force field go out and how it trapped everybody.
Yeah, it just traps everybody, and they're all completely frozen. You can tell, and they foreshadow this too because Sarah, like, you know, Jean asked Sarah in that, you know, scene, could you control everybody in this park all at once? And she said no, but maybe with time and practice. You know, so this is her now with this ultimate level of power and rage and you know whatever is her controlling a 10-mile radius in New York City of every single person. And so she could just, you know, decide in her head to just melt all their brains if she wanted to. So
please don't, Jean. Please don't.
When she's doing this, so Spider-Man is the only person she cannot control in the city. So when he shows up,
bro's built different.
He's built different. When he shows up, he now has to fight all the guards in the place, and he has to go through some members of the Hand. I do have a mention. I want to mention something about that. So remind me to mention something about that later.
Got it.
But he ends up fighting them for a while, and while he's fighting them, they end up destroying his mechanical web shooters. Mm-hmm. And then they start to like really beat on him because, you know, this choreographed attack and everything that they're able to do. And, you know, Jean Grey is like talking to him the whole time. It's like, you have nothing. We're alone. We are nothing. You have to make a decision. You have to choose. Are you Peter Parker or are you Spider-Man? And then he like takes his inhibitor off and allows the arachnid hormones to just shoot through his body. And then he says, I'm both. And then he just kicks the shit out of everybody.
Mollywops their ass.
He mollywops their ass as, you know, Peter Parker, but also as Spider-Man, where he's using the extra strength and power behind the natural webs are more powerful and his physical strength is more pronounced, and his spidey senses are more pronounced. So now he's utilizing all of these things in a positive way to win this fight, but he's also staying Peter Parker in the fact that he's not killing these people when he could. Yeah. So very cool scene, very good sequence. You love a third act, hero level up sequence, which is a very common thing in Spider-Man. It feels like he does that every Spider-Man movie. He has this final sequence where he levels up. And so, yeah, he goes and talks to Jean. Now, this is the thing that I was saying was derivative of another Marvel movie, okay? Throughout the movie, they've been showing this clip of Spider-Man sitting on a bed in a room I do not recognize. It bothered me a little bit that this room is not consistent of what the apartment he had been in the past. But whatever. He's sitting on a bed, and Aunt May comes to talk to him. And they're showing like little snippets of it, and then like a little bit more. And then when Jean tries to get into his head, that's like she sees the first little clip of this scene. So eventually, Spider-Man's like, she's like, you're the only one I can't get into your head. And he's like, do it. So then she goes into his head, and then she experiences this scene from Peter's perspective. So she's now sitting down, and Aunt May is talking to her and gives this really beautiful speech about like, you're going to get more powerful. Things are going to get really scary, and people in this world are going to do bad things, to you and around you because of your power. But just understand that you are special and you are beautiful, and everyone who in your life who loves you because of who you are and not what you can do. And it was this very beautiful and emotional speech, and it made me very emotional because we all know Aunt May. We went through these movies with her and watched her die. And to see the scene of her giving this like loving parenting type of, emotional monologue was very emotionally manipulative. Destin, you fucking prick.
I cried during this part.
If I had $1 for every time that guy made me cry, I'd have a lot of money.
Yeah, for real.
So very good scene. It is a little bit derivative of what they did in Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, shows a scene of Yolanda throughout the movie, and then it's not until the big bad gets into her head, and then you see the entire scene, and then she ends up talking to the big bad in her own head and in his head, and they go through his trauma to then get him to stop being bad. It's like yeah. It's very derivative, but it worked. It was a very good, emotionally manipulative scene, and it worked. Now, during this whole sequence when this is happening, the Punisher has been setting up to fire a shot, and he fires the shot. Small problem with this. It looks like he is shooting a 50 BMG, and if it's Punisher, it might even be explosive rounds, knowing him. Spider-Man just eats that shit. What the fuck?
I was confused by this. So I don't know about guns like that to that level. Anything powerful enough to be shot from that far away is, I'm thinking, a sniper, which would turn him into pink mist immediately. So I was confused by that. But I was like, since I don't understand the complexities of Marvel or comic books or Spider-Man. I was like, is it because he does have powers that he's a little stronger? He can eat?
That's kind of where I'm like leaning towards justifying it. Like, just to say like, okay, well, let's just say Spider-Man's skin is really a lot denser. His organs are denser. His muscles are denser. They're way more difficult to penetrate and to damage in general. Mm-hmm. He also does have regenerative powers, not nearly what Hulk and Wolverine and Deadpool have, but he regenerates faster. He heals faster.
I mean, is it that the more I think about it, I'm like, is it that much different than all the scenes in all of these movies during the action scenes of him getting thrown 400 miles into a building full speed and being like, ow.
Yeah,
it's really. Yeah.
I mean, we watch him get slammed to the ground by the Hulk, which he did to a literal invulnerable god, and just desecrated him. And he does this to Spider-Man, and he just walks that shit off. So it's like, we are kind of establishing in this movie that he is getting tougher, and with these, arachnid hormones surging through his body, he's getting even tougher, than he was before. So I think that I'm just going to forgive it for that. And there are types of bullets that, disperse once they hit impact, they immediately disperse. Because my biggest issue wasn't even that he should have been pink mist. I'm like, Spider-Man, maybe it's a little different. And the other thing you could say is, why was he able to survive it? You could say because he's Spider-Man and all these whatever things. My biggest thing was it should have gone through him and into her. He grabs her and then hugs and then shields her from the bullet. Yeah. And I'm like, I still feel like that kind of bullet from Punisher, who, by the way, builds his entire arsenal around killing metahumans, and people with powers. Like that should have fucking
Like Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah, like meta humans. Yeah.
I did my own sad trombone.
Actually, the only thing wrong about that is you refer to Mark Zuckerberg as a human, and that's
true.
Horrifically wrong.
That's true. And that's kind of meta. It's really kind of meta.
So then, I'll forgive it. I don't care. I love Spider-Man. I'm not talking about the logic of what Punisher what should have happened with this bullet.
But we were all thinking
shot.
it. So we
were all thinking it.
All
he
like,
should have died.
But
he should have gone through him. It should, whatever. Who cares? He 8 shots from the Hulk. He
caught that shit.
He's him, bro. Now I will say they show that when he gets hit, they like he stops the bullet. Like they show that he puts force into preventing the bullet from going through him in a certain way by showing the impact of the bullet hitting him and then them sliding like 10 feet, in another direction. But so there is like force behind it. Anyways, he gets shot. She saves his life by taking over his body. They do foreshadow this by showing a member of the hand stabbing themselves and then still fighting. So they're showing that when she controls your body, she can actually force you to continue to stay alive even if you're mortally wounded. And they also kind of established that you can heal better if she's controlling your body because she can force your body to respond positively to whatever. So it's a bit foreshadows that she's able to keep people alive who have suffered a really bad wound. So she keeps him alive for a long time. He wakes up in the hospital. He has this nice little moment with Punisher, and then he walks out. The last scene of the movie. So yeah, I have to mention this other scene to make this scene make sense. Okay.
MCU, folks. A lot of moving parts.
So.
Oh, yeah, MCU.
Earlier in the movie, when he first talks to MJ, when he's trying to keep her safe away from Jean Grey, she goes on this like rant about like, did we know each other? And I've always felt like there was something missing and I just couldn't put the pieces together. What were we? Were we friends? Were we more, whatever? And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, maybe there's only one thing that could like make me remember. And so she pulls his mask up halfway and then kisses him and then hugs and then takes his mask off and is like, Peter? Like she remembers and then she gives him this big hug and then you wait and you pause. And you could tell me if you felt I knew this whole time he was getting got.
Yep.
Yeah, being manipulated. We all kind of I feel like most people who are watching this scene were like, yeah, this has to be he's getting got.
It was easy to tell.
Yeah, and then Jean Grey reveals that she's controlling MJ's mind, and she's like, "Really, a true love's kiss breaks the spell." MJ would puke. Okay, so then at the end of the movie, Peter Parker is walking into a cafe,
a bodega.
Yeah, hey, we call it bodega. Hey, bacon, egg, and cheese.
Spider-Man, get the fuck out of my way, bro. I'm trying to get a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Bro, Mo's culture is not our costume.
Dude, Mo's culture is not. I'm sorry, Mo.
Sorry, Mo, for disrespecting you.
We're not real New Yorkers.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
New Yorkin. I said New Yorker.
See? Oh my God.
I don't even know.
It's like the German 3 in the fucking Inglourious Basterds, bro.
Anyways, so he sees Ned sitting there. And so he goes up to Ned and he's like, oh, you were the guy who was at our party, whatever. He's like, yeah. And he goes to shake his hand. And then they start to do their handshake that they've had established throughout the series. And then Ned looks at him and goes, Peter? So a true bro's handshake breaks the curse, motherfucker. So there's life there that they might have their memories come back, which is really nice. You want that for Spider-Man. That's the end of the movie. God, that movie is so long. The rundown was so long. And we didn't even, and I know you guys are thinking, oh, you basically went through the whole thing. No, I didn't. I actually didn't.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot that I didn't go through. And
it's a lot of moving parts.
But it's a lot of movie.
A lot of moving parts, a lot of characters.
So VMAX.
Here's
the thing. I'm familiar with the X-Men stuff. I'm familiar with X-Men. And in the X-Men story, there's a government agencies who hate mutants so much that they develop a serum that when they inject a mutant with it, it removes their mutation and turns them into a regular person. So that becomes a whole thing, and I'm not even going to get into that. But when she kept mentioning VMAX, I thought Jean Grey was hunting down this serum. I thought that this serum was already created by these people, and that's what VMAX was going to be. And when they kept like loading the dart gun with stuff, I was like, oh, are they like loading this serum that I'm thinking of? So yeah, It wasn't. It was the vent above the room in which her sister died in, and where she was placed to be tortured. If she looked directly up at it, it was a sticker that was like kind of rubbed off, and it said Vent Max, but all you could read was V Max. And so that was the last message that her sister sent to her telepathically. And it was the last thing that she saw before she died. So that's what V Max was the whole time. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be that serum. What else did I need to mention?
You said, don't let me forget to add something about the hand.
Yeah. So in the beginning of the movie, they explained that Spider-Man helped take down the hand. Now, I did not watch the Defenders show. My understanding is that the Defenders show is about those Netflix Marvel heroes taking down the hand. And now they're in Spider-Man. It's a whole thing. That's not even the point. The point is that Damage Control explains that they have now recruited members from the Hand to fight for, the government. That they are like, secret agents now or whatever. If you know anything about the Hand, you know that they do like to recruit like teenagers and stuff like that. So he says like they're just kids looking for new direction, and they can be pointed in the right direction. The problem with that is that even if you were the dumbest person ever and you did not know immediately,
which I'm not,
which you're not,
I swear,
if you did not know immediately that this Damage Control organization were the bad guys, then this was really bad. I thought it was extremely obvious that they were the bad guys, especially because Spider-Man's MO is he thinks the bad guy is a good guy. Every time. He thinks that Mysterio is a good guy the whole time. He thinks that fucking, Norman Osborn is helping him. He thinks that, the Vulture, he sees the Vulture as, his girlfriend's dad, the whole time. So he's very oblivious to shit like this. And this movie's no exception. So it's like, the vibe they give off is terrible.
And contextually, like, hey, trust this governmental agency.
Right. That's
what?
That's yeah.
Hell no.
Because in Marvel history, when a government agency takes weapons from bad guys to make their own weapons, it always goes extremely well.
Yeah.
That's not what the entire first Avengers movie is about, by the way.
But I will say, as far as the casting choice, having Trammell Tillman play this character, the head of ground control, is really smart casting. Because he is someone that obviously in Severance, he can be both, and he is in this movie too. He's so good at playing sinister, but also the most charming person you've ever met.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh yeah, like Trammell Tillman would charm me to death too. Yeah. Like he's so good at that. So at least the casting was a smart decision in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the dialogue that they kind of do, it's like, I get that they're trying to fool certain people. Mm-hmm. But if you were someone who didn't see this coming, that Damage Control were the bad guys the whole time, okay? They show you in the beginning of the movie that the members of the Hand are now working for this agency. And all of the promotion has Spider-Man fighting the Hand. So you know that they're eventually going to be bad guys.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The promotion for this movie. Yeah.
And I understand that the only time he fights them is when Jean Grey is controlling them. So it's still like Jean Grey's the big bad of the movie. But like, I was like, why are you so heavily promoting the movie that he's fighting the Hand? Like to the point to where I was like, I thought the Hand was going to be the big bad in this movie. And that Jean Grey was going to be like a side thing or like a hero character in this instead of a villain, which Jean Grey kind of is a villain in the Phoenix. That's a whole thing. God damn it. Spiders, comics, fuck. Connected storylines.
If you guys want a 10-hour episode with Timothy and David, just let us know.
Let us know. And especially if you want that, because then Timothy can explain how Daredevil plays into all of this too, because Punisher is part of the Daredevil series, and and there's a whole thing with the Hand and everything. Yeah.
It'll be the one Wild Dream episode I have not listened to.
There are entire other podcasts where all they do is talk about this every fucking day.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about this movie. But my point is that I didn't know that the Hand was going to be kind of a minor thing, because the promotion was so heavily, like the big, pop out poster at AMC is him facing up against the Hand. I was like, oh, okay. And also, here's another thing too. He gets a little bit stabbed by the Hand. The Hand, they established in the Daredevil series that all of their weapons are poisoned. So like if they stab you or slice you, they'll still kill you later on because you'll die of their poison. And then he gets stabbed with it and just eats that shit. So maybe he is just built really different these days. I mean, he's built enough to fucking fight. Like, here's the thing. And I told Dan, I was kind of pissed off about this. When he talks to Yelena, when he talks to Black Widow, he's like, hey, I need help with this thing. And she's like, you are small potatoes. You are small, insignificant stuff. And me and the new Avengers, like, we deal with big shit. We deal with important stuff. And you just kind of do the menial stuff, whatever. And I'm like, first of all, if in your backyard you guys were allowing people like Scorpion and Tombstone to just run crime and you didn't do shit about it, you guys kind of suck at your job. That's first of all. Second of all, Spider-Man will beat the fucking piss out of y'all. What are you talking about? Oh, you're just a small, insignificant part of crime fighting over here. Are you insane? I get that you're Black Widow. You got all this training and stuff. Spider-Man ate fucking body shots from fucking Hulk. Okay? So don't sit there and act like you guys are all hot shit. He would destroy you guys. So that kind of pissed me off. But point is, he's just like, he's built different these days. He's stronger in this movie. He's more durable and he's faster and he has way better fighting styles and everything. So yeah, I'm just like, maybe I just have to accept so many of the things he's able to do in this movie.
Reminds me of like her treating him that way. It reminds me of like, it's like if Isaiah Joe, maybe that he's not on the team anymore, but it's like if Isaiah Joe from the Oklahoma City Thunder was talking to Luka and is like, you don't know nothing about this shit, bro. I'm an NBA champion.
Right.
It's like, hey man, 1v1 me right fucking now.
Yeah.
It's like I'm out of your league.
1v3 me with whoever you're on the court with.
Honestly,
because that's my thing. I'm like, when they first introduced Spider-Man and he has like a small interaction where he gets the better of Captain America. Eventually Captain America just puts in 10% more effort and then incapacitates Spider-Man. And later Iron Man tells Spider-Man, he's like, listen, he's like, yeah, I know you think you're hot shit because you fought Captain America. If Cap wanted to lay you the fuck out, he could have. Okay, you're lucky he didn't. You're lucky he's a nice guy. He would have kicked your ass. And so like there's other people in the new Avengers that have super serum, and I'm like, but Spider-Man's not a fucking 14-year-old kid no more. You know what I'm saying? This guy fucking, he could, throw a tank at you. I'm sorry. He's way stronger than those guys. And I don't even have to be the one to tell you guys this. There's a whole series in the YouTube channel called Death Battles where they go through everything about two different superheroes or whatever entities or IPs don't. And they make a decision on who would kill who. And they're like, yeah, Spider-Man would kill Captain America in every, if you combine every version of Spider-Man. And so, yeah, I'm like, now you got fucking bootleg Captain America and you think he's hot shit compared to Spider-Man? Like, what are you talking about? You sound dumb as hell. But that's just me being an extremely biased Spider-Man fan and not in love with this new Avengers team.
Fair enough. I know too. Did you want? This is a very you episode. I just want to make that very clear.
I know. I was going to start the episode by saying I promise I'm going to let Daniel talk, but I was like, I can't make that promise.
And to be fair, I don't have much to say. But did you want to talk about Jean Grey's powers?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Jean Grey in this whole story is that this Spider-Man is very different than what we've gotten from Spider-Man in the past. And the MCU version of him is very different. And a big, big part of that is that Sony contract issue, right? And what I mean by that is that because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, they also own the rights to a lot of his villains. And in order to keep those rights active, they have put out shitty movie after shitty movie of Spider-Man villains just to continue to own them. Like they still own Kraven because they made a fucking dog shit Kraven movie that looks like it was made in 10 minutes so that they could still own Kraven, right? And they still own a lot of these villains. So because of that, we have a very different version of Spider-Man. The most common version of Spider-Man is one that he goes and he works for the Daily Planet as a photographer. That doesn't exist for Tom Holland. He eventually works, with he has a best friend who is Harry Osborn, whose father is Norman Osborn, who become, the Green Goblin and then the Hobgoblin. So those villains, they don't exist. There is no Oscorp in the MCU. There is no Dr. Octavius. And eventually Spider-Man usually goes and works for Dr. Octavius, and then, everything, he becomes Doc Ock. So like that, it doesn't exist. And then there's also eventually he gets exposed to the symbiote that becomes Venom, and then Venom, takes over Eddie Brock. Or honestly, there's been different variations. And in the video game, he takes over Harry Osborn. Like there's different versions of it, but him experiencing being inside of, being with Venom is where we get that ultra rage version of him too, and in different iterations. But that's what we're typically used to. We're typically used to Spider-Man and him, Doc Ock, Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, all these things. None of these exist. So we have to kind of accept that the MCU Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, is just a different version of Spider-Man in so many regards. And they've established this from the get-go. They were like, okay, first thing Spider-Man does is be in the Avengers. That's insane, right? Like 14-year-old Spider-Man is fucking fighting Captain America. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, MJ is not Mary Jane. MJ is a woman named Michelle Jones or whatever. Okay, his best friend is not Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn doesn't even fucking exist. His best friend's name is Ned, and there's a version of Spider-Man's name friend is Ned. But my point of saying all of that is this. Jean Grey in this movie is very, very different than any version of Jean Grey I've ever been exposed to. And that's okay. Because this Spider-Man is not regular Spider-Man. Because Jean Grey is an X-Men character, and X-Men is still owned by Sony. So very similarly to what we expect from getting, a loaner from, Sony to make a Jean Grey character, we should expect a lot of changes. I liked a lot of the changes that they did, because if you were to say, hey, we're putting the Jean Grey you guys are used to in a Spider-Man movie, again, the way that Spider-Man fights Hulk in this movie, I'm like, Hulk even fighting Jean Grey would be ridiculous to me. Because Jean Grey, when she becomes the Phoenix and when she's the Dark Phoenix, the levels of powers she is able to access and obtain and the things she's able to do are ungodly. And there's a lot of heroes that are like this. We hear about, when Superman flies into the sun, he becomes a god and he can just destroy everything all the time. And, we hear stories.
Not me, bro. I'm built different, bitch. I call him Pooper Man. Hey, Pooper Man. Nice fucking tank top.
Hashtag super shit.
Hey, nice glasses, Clark Kent. Yeah, Clark. I know you
didn't fool me, dumbass.
Hey, Pooper Man, you're Henry Cavill, dude. You're built like a fucking ox, and you're working at this fucking Goldman Sachs ass. Where, dude, you're not fucking fooling anybody. Rip your fucking button up open right now. I bet you there's an S on your fucking chest, you Pooper Man. That would be me, and then he'd be like, "Damn, this guy's cool as fucking. I'm scared of him." I'm like, "Yeah." And then
Clark Kent does recipe reviews, but then publishes interviews with Superman. What the fuck is this?
I would be like, dude, come on.
So yeah, I mean, Jean Grey is a character that, she is just a walking nuclear bomb that can destroy planets. Like, she could take over the minds of every fucking person in the country if she wanted to. Like that, like the levels of power that we've seen from her, and even like in movie versions of her, where she just becomes this like unstoppable being, where the only way that they were able to stop her is to appeal to her humanity. Like that's like the best you could hope for is hope. And they kind of do that in this movie too. So I appreciate that. This is the weakest version of Jean Grey that I've ever seen, because she only takes over a 10-mile block radius in New York City. That's a very small potatoes for Jean Grey. Like I've seen, versions of her where she's taken over fucking governments, and ripped planets apart and put them back together. Like she's so fucking powerful. And this is a very, very small version of her. Now, again, this is young, kind of a kid, playing by Sadie Sink. Sadie Sink's performance in this, I think, is the best performance she has ever had, and I did not like her in Stranger Things. It's a known thing for me.
We didn't like her in The Whale either.
We didn't like her in The Whale. I
remember us being like, ugh.
Me and Taylor get annoyed by the fact that she only ever plays a moody teen, and it's just like...
Even in this.
She's very like... But it's like, I feel like in all of her other movies, like in Stranger Things and in The Whale, I keep saying all of her other, like I've seen every fucking Sadie Sink movie. In The Whale and Stranger Things, the two things I've seen Sadie Sink in, she's like a stereotype, like theatrical version of a I'm not like other girls girl. You know, it's like a parody, like a caricature of that stereotype of a person. And it's just it's off-putting, and it's just not, I just don't like it, you know? I don't like her character in Stranger Things, and I don't like her performance in Stranger Things. And then in The Whale, I didn't like her character, and I didn't like her performance. You know, it's a tough thing. So in this movie, I think this is her best performance yet. And the fact that I was able to look past the fact that I don't have a good relationship or experience with Sadie Sink is a testament to, again, this director who gets unbelievable performances out of people. I mean, we're talking about a guy who worked on a movie that I fucking love with Brie Larson and Rami Malek and John Gallagher and Lakeith Stanfield, all these people who went on to do amazing things. And they have some, you know, even to this day, their best performances are in that movie. You know, so I'm like, okay, now the director I love and respect, and I think is a very good actor's director, gets this performance out of Sadie Sink, and I'm like, okay, maybe that was always part of it, you know, for her and her growth in her career. I will say the scene with Tom Holland and Zendaya where he's professing why he, you know, had her memory erased and you know whatever, and that he loved her, very emotional scene. One of the best acting performances in the whole movie. And then after I got out of the movie, I told Daniel and Taylor, who came to see the movie with us, I said, yeah, real fucking hard to sit there and look at your actual IRL wife and say, I love you. And it feels really convincing.
Cheat code.
I'm saying. Now, I will say the full penetration sex scene
between Spider-Man and Punisher. I was going to talk about this.
Right.
Because
I get that they're both lonely and they both don't have anyone.
I just feel like look, I'm all about committing to the bit, but this being the scene where he says, come here, let me tell you something.
He says, come here, let me tell you something. And then pulls his dick out and bends Spider-Man over. And,
when he goes, hey, I could shoot webs too. Watch this.
I can shoot webs too. It's not that fucking hard. I wish Punisher could say fuck in this movie so bad.
I know. You know what?
Him in a Deadpool.
I loved their chemistry in this movie. Like their banter.
Yeah. I wonder if they spent any time with each other other than this movie.
I don't know. I never seen them in a movie together 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, in another massive movie, hanging out all the time.
Yeah, I thought that they played off each other really well.
Yeah, I love John Bernthal's Punisher. I understand that he is way, way weaker than, you know, comic book version. So is every, you know, live action actor. But I think the way he performs him is great. He has one of my favorite lines in the movie is Spider-Man's like, oh, I have to go home to, you know, make this thing. And he's like, why do you need to go home for that? He's like, do you have an anti-static mat and microelectronics and micro tools? And he's like, yeah, I got all that shit. And then he's like, Spider-Man goes, why do you need all that? And MJ goes, bombs. Bingo, says Punisher. I thought it was such a great little sequence. And I also I love the idea of him like spouting off all this, like, you know, trying to sound super smart, intellectual, tech stuff.
Jargon.
And then Punisher's like, yeah, I got all that shit. And he literally says,
that shit's going away.
Yeah. He literally says shit. Yeah.
Can you imagine if you dropped the Connor O'Malley?
Yeah.
All that shit's going away.
Oh my God.
That'd be awesome.
All of Punisher's like Punisher-isms are so funny in the movie, dude. Like when and Spider-Man's like, don't shoot her. He's like, enough with the soft serve bullshit. He's like, if I'm going to, you know what, just go the fuck away, man. Just go away. All right, I'm going to do shit the way I'm doing it.
I like that too, because it's for me as a just pretty neutral viewer of comic book films, he's kind of the general audience's voice, someone like me who just is going to see a good movie. It is not, so I watch a lot of these movies, all the Batman movies, these movies, and I'm like, why are superheroes such pussies? Like, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I can't kill this rapist, man. And I'm like, kill the rapist, man. Yeah. Like, just kill these criminals.
You hate Supergirl.
and so, yeah, from what you've told me, yeah. So it's just like, it's really refreshing to get a line like that. It's like, man, enough with the soft serve bullshit. There's an evil person, you know, like, I'm killing them.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing is that, you know, Punisher, like his introduction is, you know, the John Bernthal Punisher is in season 2 of Daredevil. And I feel like that whole season they try to like balance, you know, having Frank Castle be the big bad of the season while also dealing with the Hand and having Elektra or whatever. And you know, me and Timothy have talked about this like extensively. And but what I think is so great about his character in that series, in the way they introduce him, is that he is like Daredevil is the no killing ever. Like, we don't kill, we just beat people up, whatever. And he has that that like famous monologue where he's like, yeah, you put people away and then what? Then they get out and then they go and they hurt more people. When I do it my way, they never hurt anybody ever again. You know, and it's like he's kind of spitting.
He is,
you know?
spitting,
like,
man. And
then like you have the famous scene where he's in court and they're trying to, you know, get him exonerated for all the crimes that he committed and say, well, he's insane and you know he had a really traumatic experience and that's why he, you know, did all these things, whatever. And then he has a scene where he's like, I'm not fucking crazy. I know what I did and I do it again. I loved it. I'll do it again. You know, it's like that has become like so memed now, but it is Frank Castle going, yeah, I killed a bunch of fucking scumbags and I loved it. I loved every minute of taking their lives and I will do it again. It's like, yeah, that's Frank Castle. So it's like very point of reason, honestly, to a certain degree when you talk about like, especially in Daredevil, where he's killing some really, really bad people in bunches. And then, you know, you have movies like this where it's like, well, Spider-Man was right. If he had shown up and just killed Jean Grey, he would have killed the wrong person.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But yeah, it's nice to have that yin and yang. I don't even know if that's the right metaphor for that, but it's just like, I like it. I think it is great chemistry. It keeps the movie a little more alive. And yeah, especially just when, you know, there's like scenes where like, Spider-Man's like, hey, cops are good. Like, it's just very, I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's like one of the most corrupt forces in the entire world is the police. So to have a little bit of that, it's almost a little meta to just be like, fuck that, kill these people. You know? And
the thing about the vigilante
believability, I guess.
Yeah, the vigilante trope, it does exist for Spider-Man just as much as it does for Batman and anyone else, where typically he has like one or two people in the police force, the NYPD, that he trusts and that he doesn't think are corrupt and that he can work with, because the other cops are either they're totally corrupt because there's so much organized crime in New York in the Spider-Man series, or they don't like Spider-Man. They're like, oh, he you know, tries to do our job for us and he should just stay out of the way. And when he catches criminals, he makes it basically impossible to prosecute them now because the evidence was found by vigilante and not by the police, you know? So like they have these issues with him, and that's a very, very common vigilante to police, you know, thing. And in this movie, they have him have one contact, and I think her character was great. And I think the way that she interacts with him is great. And it has like this adult figure in his life that's like looking out for him. And it's like the only person looking out for him and wants the best for him. And, you know, like it is I trust one person on the force and it's this person. But then also when he sees other cops, he's like, you guys are great. And I hope you guys do a good job. And everyone's doing so great. You know, it's like, come on, man. That's why the new Avengers, they would never, bro. They're all bad guys. Like every person in the New Avengers was a big bad in another Marvel project before being the New Avengers. So, that's a little different than
which was what made that such an interesting angle for me. That's why I really do love Thunderbolts. I thought that was a really good movie. How about this? I'm gonna hit you with it's inspired. This is I just thought of these. This is inspired. So this is unprepared, but it's inspired by the rewatchables. The rewatchables, you know, they do certain categories, and sometimes awards, they'll shift them per year and add new ones, take out old ones. I'm going to give you two categories to try and answer because I'm cheating because as you've been talking, I've been thinking about it. Okay. What was your favorite absolutely blatant logo facing the camera branding in this movie?
Oh, man. You have to go Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
It has to be Little Caesars.
It has to be.
Because I was going to ask you, how many Little Caesars boxes were in the movie, because I was counting them the second time. The first time I was watching the movie in the morning, I was like, Jesus Christ, I get it. And then the second time I was like, you know what? I'm going to start counting them and see how many Little Caesars boxes. And Daniel made a great point in the theater, by the way, which he said, is ordering Little Caesars in New York City like a sin?
Isn't it illegal?
Like the number, like a pizza capital of the world, and you're ordering Little Caesars.
But you gotta love it because it just makes Peter Parker so. It's like, wait, I relate to this Tom Holland character.
Yeah, who can't afford good pizza right now.
Yeah, he's eating this slop like I do. Hell yeah, he's a man of the people.
And I mean, Spider-Man is a character that constantly eats pizza because he's a very, very New York character, you know, through and through. But I will say, with that said, I think it is funny that he has one of those Sony flip screen camera phones.
Yes,
the phone that folds in half.
That was one of the other ones I was thinking of, was the really close-up shot of Zendaya. When you have such an iconic name, it's really hard to refer to a character name other than Michi, of course, who Zendaya is. And
the funniest joke my wife has ever made, by the way, I mentioned that people are making the joke that Tom Holland is going to take his wife's last name. He's just going to go by Tom now. And then Taylor said, Zendaya does have a last name. It's Michi.
But I like that. There was I like the fact that there's a shot of those Sony headphones, like center frame, close up. But then there was also one where I could be misremembering this, but I noticed a lot of BMW stuff in this, and that to the point where this is where I might be misremembering. But during an action sequence, they like shoot or pull off the logo of a BMW and it flies up into the air like in focus. Like I was like, oh, Jesus Christ!
I think
nothing for me tops.
I watched the post-credit scene the first time and I told Dan about it, so I can tell you towards the end of the credits they do a special thanks to and then list a bunch of companies including BMW.
Oh, okay, yeah. What? Because my ultimate product placement
for this movie,
of all time,
is Community Subway.
Well, I'm not in like a actually appreciating it way.
Oh, okay,
like the most like this is so egregious to the point of absurdity.
Okay.
Is I don't remember which one. It was Stanley Tucci in a Transformers movie in a Beat Pill. Yeah. Back when the Beat Pill speakers were out.
Holds it to the camera.
Holds it to the like a focus pull, like a really hard shot to get the Beat Pill. He like says the full government name of it.
He says the Beat Pill, superior audio.
Yeah, dude, I will never forget that. Yeah, ever.
And then, I mean, the Transformers movies are famous for the egregious, like just commercials in the middle of the fucking movie.
Yeah, because like one of the ones, it might have been Rise of the Beast even, I don't remember, but one of the ones that there's no way it was, but it was because it had to have been one of the Mark Wahlberg ones, but we had seen one where they like smash through a Bud Light truck. Yeah. And like it's like insane. I don't know. It's a fun game to play. But I agree. Like Little Caesars was my favorite. So obvious logo facing the camera brand in this movie.
Which, I mean, they've been helping promote the movie a ton, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they had the Weberoni, or at least I heard. I don't know.
Was it any good?
I heard they had.
Have you heard from anyone if that was really?
I heard they had a Weberoni or something. Yeah, I don't fucking keep up with that bullshit.
Yeah, I wasn't tempted to order pizza from a lesser pizza place just because of Spider-Man. Yeah, I didn't get got by the promotion.
No way. All right, here's my last category for you.
Okay,
in this movie, who is the biggest loser in this movie? Who do you think lost the most? Who's the biggest loser?
Oh, man. That is...
And this question is inspired by your take about Scorpion. I just want to make that clear. Is that his name or Scorpio? I forget.
Scorpion.
Scorpion?
Yeah.
You were talking about how, man, every time that he goes to fight,
Okay, yeah, I was going on this
It's inspired by that, but it made me think of who I thought was...
So, for those of you who don't know, it is a common thing for Spider-Man that in every version of him where eventually he stops pulling his punches. He starts to hit people harder and harder, and he, doesn't care about the safety of his villains anymore, whatever. And he has to control his anger, and he has to control himself because when he starts to lose control or when he starts to... stop pulling his punches, he can really, really hurt people. And there's a version of the comics in which, he loses MJ, he loses Aunt May. He's like, fuck it, I'm not pulling my punches at all anymore. And the first villain that he comes up against is Scorpion, and Scorpion's like, we're going to do this fight. Me and you, Spider-Man, we're going to dance. And he just grabs him and punches his fist all the way through his skull, just all the way through Scorpion's skull, and then just drops his fucking body. And it's like, Jesus Christ, it's this insane. Like, why did you do that? Like, insane. And then they do this animated TV show recently where they are showing, Spider-Man as a teenager, and they're like reimagining it, and Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn are different, and they have whatever. And he like starts to get angry in the show, and he ends up fighting Scorpion and like stops pulling his punches and starts beating the shit out of Scorpion until he realizes, oh my God, I'm like actually beating him to a fucking pulp. I'm about to kill this guy. I need to chill out. And he's like, actually, that's not me. And it's like after he's already like fucking broken this guy's spine, ripped up all of his tech, and just embarrassed him in front of everybody. And then in the Spider-Man video game, they introduce Venom in the second one, and then when he gets the Venom suit, like one of the first villains he fights is Scorpion, and he just beats the fucking piss out of him. And then now in this one, the first villain that Spider-Man fights again, when he stops pulling his punches, the arachnid, DNA, whatever, it surges, and he loses control, and he just beats Scorpion to. And by the way, Scorpion not even controlling his own body.
Right, he's being controlled.
This is Jean Grey cosplaying as Scorpion, and he just beats the piss out of him. He does a move in the game. So in the video game, you get like this charge up jump where you like hold it and then you can jump really high in the air. And if you do that, you can also do a ground slam right after that. And it's like a really good move. And he does this in the movie. He does a super jump into the air, takes 2 webs, slings himself and just smashes it into the fucking chest and into the concrete. And it's not even Scorpion. It's just fucking Jean Grey. I'm like, why does Scorpion always get like when Spider-Man goes bad? It's always Scorpion who gets the shit kicked out of him.
It's giving the SpongeBob, how many times we got to teach you this, old man?
Yeah,
it's giving that.
It really is, bro.
It's funny.
My only complaint about the Scorpion, I thought the casting was phenomenal. That is exactly that guy. I don't know his name. I'm sorry. His look, his voice, he
reminds me of Frankie Quinones.
His mannerisms were so perfect for Scorpion. I absolutely loved that. I loved his performance. I couldn't. I'm like, I couldn't cast it better. I couldn't ask for a better line delivery or anything. He was perfect. My only complaint is that they didn't have any Scorpion venom. Scorpion has like this venom that like makes you go insane and like see insane visions and stuff and like fucks with you.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to give you a platform for that because I figured that would be your pick for biggest loser in this movie. I think my pick would be MJ's boyfriend. He's not even a footnote. He's a toe note. Like
yes.
He is. You forget he exists. I think she forgets he exists immediately.
After the first time you see him. Yeah.
I'm just like, ooh, buddy, this guy is the biggest loser of the movie. I'm sorry, man. Like, who will remember that she had a boyfriend in this movie? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to give my award to him and this would be kind of fun to add to the podcast, bro. Our own little categories for
honestly,
each film.
I like it.
That'd be fun. What was your favorite part of the movie? What was your least favorite part of the movie, Dave?
My favorite part of the movie was, just seeing Spider-Man deal with the increased strength, increased awareness and everything that's coming from this, because it does introduce this concept of him being more aggressive and having to deal with that. My least favorite part of this movie was, I will say the flashback scene for Jean Grey was the worst part of the movie. Because I think that 2 things that are wrong with it. Obviously, 3 things. I mentioned that they are telepaths who talk out loud. The second part about it is that it's such a insignificant character. The Sarah character is on screen for so little time. I don't care about her when she's referenced later. Like the trauma dump, scene that they have is just not good. But I think the worst part about it is that this is a flashback scene giving introductory level knowledge that comes in a 2.5+ hour movie in the beginning of the 3rd act, where I'm like, oh my, wrap it the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's just, it comes at such a bad time where I don't want any more bullshit like that being introduced.
For sure. I would have cut that scene entirely.
Yeah. So that's probably my least favorite part of the movie. Not probably. That is my least favorite part of the movie.
I think my favorite part of the movie was was the cinematography. Like I just can't believe how, not just how good it looks, but how bold of a choice it was to make it look so different than the other movies in this franchise. What would you call this? I don't know. The Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. It's hard to, because the franchise is MCU.
Right. I'm like,
I get what you're saying though.
But yeah, I was so impressed by it. I thought it looked so good. And there's some beauty. I mean, there's that one shot from the Punisher's area where it's this perfect, like, centered little square where you get a view of the city. And it looks like a wallpaper. Like, it looks like a desktop screensaver. It's beautiful. Like, it's just such, I just was so impressed by how much went into this. I remember months ago when they first released that 2-second teaser of him, the close-up of his eye underneath the mask as he's falling from the building.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everyone was just shitting on it. Just like, his eye would not be that far away from the mask. Blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, it's creative. It's visually. Oh my God. God forbid that it's just nerds, man. But
like, it's something I didn't even bring up or complain about or, whatever. It's like, and it is because it is such a nitpicky, this is just me as a Spider-Man fan. I'm like confused or whatever. It's just weird to me that the first 3 movies, one of the biggest things they introduced was that his goggles move and change so that when he's wearing his mask, they can show a ton of emotion. Mm-hmm. And they like kind of went away from that for this movie. And the other thing is that they established Spider-Man introducing him by saying his suits are made by Tony Stark, the most brilliant tech genius of all time, to the point where he gives him a whole suit called the Iron Spider suit, where he has these extra things that he has come out of him and they help him defend himself and they help him fight and whatever. And then in No Way Home, when he's at this point where he's making his own suits, he makes the combo suit. He makes the No Way Home suit, where it's a combination of his traditional suit that's nice to move around and flexibility, but it also has nanotechnology in it with the Iron Spider tech, so that he still has the claws that come out and he still has tech from Iron Man. And I'm just like, why would you then, as a solo hero by yourself, just completely go away from that? Just completely abandon the extra nanotech elements of your kit. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But with that, all of that said, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I love the design of the new suit. So I'm like, I want my expectation, and they set this expectation, is that every new Spider-Man movie has a new badass suit, And I really loved this suit. It was very classic. It was a good redesign of, but keeping the classic colors and staying with that bright, vibrant, blue and red. I really love that. But it just doesn't make sense that he just doesn't use this insanely valuable and useful technology in his suits anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just really impressed with the visual aspect of this movie, and it looked fantastic. And then my least favorite part of the movie was the runtime. It was very long, and it had lulls, and I've really felt them. So that has to be my least favorite my least favorite thing about the movie. It's time to score Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Well, okay, so having like an unbiased, like, reviewing the movie just as a movie, I'm leaning towards an 11 out of 10.
Okay, yeah.
That's unbiased.
Okay.
Now my biased score. As a Spider-Man movie, this is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie. I really do need to watch No Way Home again, because that one you're getting 3 Spider-Man. It's a whole thing. And also, this is all live action, because I really do believe both of the Spider-Verse movies are 9s out of 10.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know I gave the second one an 8 out of 10 on the podcast. That was wrong. It is a 9 out of 10. I've seen it 100 times since then.
And I think I gave it an 8.8 because I was just a pussy back then. I was a fucking pussy back then. It's a 9. It's a 9. Absolutely a 9.
It's not a 10, though. It's not a 10. It has one flaw. They play audio of stuff we had already heard in the movie at the end of the movie.
And it's a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, which I'm like... for a superhero movie, it's fine.
Yeah. But it's, So I've rewatched that one a couple times. I'm like, this is a masterpiece, dude. This is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's impossible for these live action movies to compete with those, specifically those that changed the industry of animation forever. But as far as this is probably my favorite live action Spider-Man movie to date. As a Spider-Man movie, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. As a just regular old movie, I actually think it is elevated from a lot of the other Spider-Man movies. And just as a movie in general, I'm giving it a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, this is a 6 out of 10 for me. I was really trying not to, it's really hard for me to score. It's a running, we all know this from the very opening episode.
We get better at it every episode and worse at it every episode.
But I was like, don't overthink it. Just what do you feel? 6 out of 10.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. We're the first person and people ever to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day.
There you go.
No one had said anything about this movie before us.
Dude, it's underrated. The Spider-Man shit is underrated. No one's talking about this stuff.
No one's talking about it. We're the first to mention it. I hope that you guys get some enjoyment out of this. Again, no part 2 this week. Sorry. We did add a little game, though, so that was fun.
That's why, I was like, dude, why not?
But these late recordings, our schedules, whatever, we will have part 2s again. I promise.
Yeah.
But for now, that is it for this episode. But again, if you want to hear us talk about more about Spider-Man, you want to hear mine and Timothy's thoughts about the new Spider-Man, because me and Timothy just did a stream, just the two of us.
The two of us.
This past week, and we talked about comic books and superheroes and stuff like that for a long time.
It was fun too. I was a viewer on that one. I was having a blast. I know Shmat was loving it too. He was like, "Finally, no more sports bullshit."
Yeah, so true. I know that our audience is definitely leans more towards that type of people. So, me and Timothy, these are the conversations that he and I have all the time. That we can sit there for hours and hours and talk about these superheroes and the comics and how we feel about them. So if you want to hear more about that, come and ask us. We're more than happy to chat about that over at Wild Dream Stream. But if you want to get involved in the conversation about this movie, if you went to go see it, or this episode, if you listened all the way through, you can reach us at Wild Dream Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to come and watch us live stream video games and chat and have fun and play games and literally talk about anything you want, and we will be ass at the game while we chat with you guys. Because there have been times where Daniel has walked around a building that he's supposed to be looking for clues in, just talking about Taco Bell and it just saying for so long.
For sure.
And you're like, does he suck at this game? No, he's just really good at talking about fast food and debating who has the best fries.
I've got thoughts and I've got opinions.
We can do that. We are the kind of people that can really make an engaging conversation out of anything. We just happen to love movies, and that's why we do this podcast.
We're yappers.
But we went to go to Wild Dream Stream because, it's similar to this, where these are vaulted conversations that we would have been having anyway. Wild Dream Stream is the kind of conversations we have when we're gaming with our friends already. Mm-hmm. So it's very engaging and lively and fun. So come and join us. We are at Wild Dream Stream on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. When we go live on YouTube and on Twitch most of the time. So, I would recommend to put your notifications on both platforms, on both Twitch and YouTube, so that you will know when we go live.
Please.
And we will see you there. But until next time, we love you. We kiss you. Good night.